So I first got into the industry over 10 years ago now. I'm not going to say what age I am. That'll reveal my age. But quite some time ago. And I remember getting into it. I always knew from a very young age that I wanted to help people. I wasn't quite sure in what capacity. I even sort of studied psychology for a little bit in my earlier years, thinking that maybe that was the route that I wanted to take. And essentially they are kind of intertwined, but I remember just helping a few people. You know, I very quickly got a bit of a reputation in my town of being the guy who sort of takes his training very seriously, and sort of started to, you know, build a little bit of traction, and just started with people messaging saying, oh, can you help with my diet? Can you help with my training? And very quickly that turned into making plans for people, and then started actually doing PT with people. And at the time I was, I think, grounds work, like labour site work or something, and I would go to work all day, come back in the evening, shower, and then go and do a PT session in the evening. I had maybe a handful of these clients. Very quickly got addicted to that feeling of helping people, you know, and seeing people progress with their own training, and just gave me a really, really good sense of well-being, you know. And I very quickly knew that I wanted to do this as a full-time job. So I moved into full-time first employment, self-employment, should I say. And this was actually the first time going full-time self-employed. And it was around the time where I actually moved out and got my first rental apartment. And I just remember saying to myself, if I could just make enough money to pay my rent and my bills, that would be fantastic. Very, very, you know, goal driven back there. But anyway, that happened very quickly. You know, I got a full diary of PT clients, I think within the first couple of months. And you know, this was just being very proactive, you know, approaching people on the gym floor. I remember giving away free PT sessions in the early stages, just to try and get my name out there and show people, you know, what I was about. And I do feel as though these years PTing, the first sort of 4 years of my career were PTing. I feel as though these years were invaluable for learning what I feel as though is one of the most important skill sets as a coach, as an online coach, even now. And that is your ability to know how to communicate with clients, know how to get the most out of them, and, you know, to learn how to empathize with them, you know. And I feel as though even to this day, this is, you know, one of the most important skill sets to acquire, because it's all very well knowing, you know, the best training and nutrition protocols and whatnot, but it's about how to get the client to be able to apply those, and how to relay that information to them, which is in a way that is understandable, and also how to appreciate and empathize with a client's own obstacles and boundaries. So I do feel as though those PT years were invaluable. So this is a funny one actually, because I'd love to say that I sat down and I had a business model and a mentor and whatnot, and I didn't. I kind of just fell into online coaching. I was PTing, and I had, you know, 7-day-a-week PT full book. You know, I was very, very busy with PT. And this was just when online coaching just started to become a big thing, maybe sort of 6 years ago or so. And I had someone just inquire into online coaching and said, do you do online coaching? At which this point I didn't, but my response was, yes, I do. And then everything started to fall into place. I started to make the systems. Back then it was Microsoft Word, which was the, and if any of my existing clients from 6 years ago, I think there's still a couple of you on board the team. If any of you remember the Microsoft Word days, but emails would be typed, checking feedback, programming was Microsoft Word. Safe to say it's moved a very long way since then. But yeah, you know, I got the first inquiry for online coaching, and this was just a way to branch out, because I'd been PT in maybe 4 years at this point, and it was an opportunity to, you know, with a full PT diary, be able to help more people, essentially, you know, with the online side of things. So yeah, it was a natural progression from the PT into the online. Once I started doing the online, I slowly started pulling back some of the PT hours, and that helped me to open up the avenue for online coaching. And I just remember instantly being, you know, hooked to the online idea of being able to help as many people as possible. So who do we work with? A wide spectrum of different individuals. So in my time PTing and coaching, I would say I've worked with hundreds of different people, with, you know, a very, very diverse spectrum of goals. You know, right from, I've had individuals come on board to myself who have been, you know, advised by a doctor that they are in a very, very poor position of health, and they are in a position where they need to do something about it. to be quite frank, or they're only going one way, and that's quite the severe level. I've helped people who have come to me on, antidepressants, have been taking medication. And in fact, I think I remember one of my most proudest moments as a coach was actually, I onboarded a young woman who was suicidal, and she was on antidepressants and had attempted to take her own life multiple times that year. And within the first sort of 6 months of coaching, we actually not only managed to completely change her mindset around this, but also actually bring her off her antidepressants and medication entirely. And for me, that was one of my most rewarding moments as a coach. Right onto the other end of the spectrum, where I have individuals who are just trying to get completely jacked out of their minds. We have people who are obviously looking to get on stage and compete, people looking to do photo shoots. And then we just have people who, in general, are just trying to improve their lifestyle and get in shape because they want to be fitter to play with their family or feel more confident around the pool on holiday. And you know what, guys, I've never really kind of, put myself in a direct niche towards, in a sense that I only work with these individuals, because I got into this job as a coach not to specify with regards to a specific goal, but more to help people, right? And if I can help people in any way, shape or form, then my job is done. Some of my proudest moments as a coach have been the dramatic transformations where I've had an individual who's just completely changed their life. So that might be quite a wide answer, but in general, on Team KC, we work with any individual, and all I ask from an onboarding client is that they give me their 100% effort, and then I will put my 100% into them and into helping them achieve their goals. So I would say, and again, this links with the time on the gym floor, to be honest, because I would say my ability to communicate with people, my ability to empathize and understand people's obstacles and their own limitations, something I think is a lot of the time maybe a key missing principle. Certainly when it comes to, clients that I sometimes onboard who have had a previous bad experience, I feel like your ability to listen and treat your clients as an individual and find out, and sort of right from the onboarding process, I'm deep diving into their life, their obstacles, their challenges, their limitations, because when a client's onboarding with you, a lot of the time they're doing that because they've tried themselves and they've not necessarily got to where they want to get to. So there must be something that they are struggling with. So I feel as though my greatest asset as a coach, is my ability to, find out that individual's issues and limitations and overcome them together, to communicate, to empathize, and to get the most out of them. I've always been very, very good at, listening and communicating and finding out what they need as an individual. So, yeah, I would say that that is one of my key attributes that I focus on as a coach. So future plans for the team, continuing to work with and help as many individuals as possible to achieve their goals, continue to expand the team, expand the brand, and just also to continue to upskill myself as a coach. Something which I always, take as utmost importance is to never stop learning, to never stop trying to improve, to never stop trying to upskill and deliver more and give back more to my clients. Ultimately, if someone is investing in me as their coach and putting their trust into me, I want to ensure that I'm continually trying to upskill and improve my ability to coach and my service and my knowledge. So, to continue to improve the service and help as many people as possible, and to keep driving the brand forwards. That is Team KC.